On there you go. Okay. Welcome to our meeting here for June of 2026. We have the pleasure today of having one of our own, Ryan Anderson, our Rear Commodore, presenting on how to put together a wonderful trip to the British Virgin Islands. He's been a captain down there a few times, and I am not going to say any more because I think he's going to do a fantastic job with the presentation without me speaking. So I am going to get out of the way and let him talk.
We'd have to share the screen so they can see it on Zoom. Well, I mean the Zoom people.
Yes, share, please.
Let's go back to Zoom so we can share the screen. So that, there we go. Now let's share the screen so they can see it.
All right, so I break it. First meeting, awesome.
Alrighty. All right, so our Zoom folks should see that. And Pete, I wear this. Is that right? Okay.
Oh, it looks nice. Sure.
Okay, so I'm wearing that, and I'm gonna see if I can get this thing to turn to follow me. Give me 1 second here. Yep, now it's following me, so it should track with me. Oh, perfect. And I'm using this as well, yeah, I presume. So you
The
guys can
room
hear me?
needs
Yep, perfect.
unless you can yell like me.
Okay, folks, give me 1 second. I'm going to minimize my little Zoom video here. So thank you for coming. My name is Ryan Anderson. I am going to talk to you all about some charters I've done in the BVI. I've been 3 times. I did my well, I'll get to that in a second, but this is what I'm talking about. I thought of everything I could think about that I would have wanted to know the first time I chartered down there as a skipper. And as I got into it, I just kept thinking of more and more things. So there's a lot in here. And I'm sure there's still things I missed. So definitely feel free to ask any questions you have when we get to the end. And honestly, as I'm going, if we're on a slide that you particularly have a question about, I'm happy to answer it then as well. But you'll see this is at Anegada. We're at a little beach bar there that definitely did not have Wi-Fi. I remember that. The Wi-Fi password did not work. But my wife back there, Alana, she has been down with me twice now. And we have another, oh yes, applause, applause, applause for the first mate. And we booked another one come up in January, but I'm going to just advance here. So a little bit about me. Let me minimize this. Why is this? Give me 1 second. There we go. So I've only been sailing. I'm not like a New England all my life, learned to sail on dinghies kind of a guy. I've only been sailing for maybe 11 or 12 years. And I did my ASA 101, 103, and 104 with the Boston Sailing Center. The 104 I did down in the Caribbean on a Hansi 45. That's when I got my bareboat certification or whatever. And COVID hit. And like a lot of people, I was like, cool, I'm going to buy my own boat. So as we all are, even if you just bought a boat, you're probably still looking at your next boat the next day, right? You're saying, well, once like what am I going to upgrade to? And so I ended up doing a 1986 Cal 33. I keep it here at Savin Hill Yacht Club. And in fact, tomorrow with Larry and Ellen, we're taking it up to Maine because I have a mooring up in Maine as well in Cundy's Harbor. So it'll be a little sporty, but it'll be all right. We got a good crew. And Alana and I live with our little beagle dog here in Roslindale. And the 2 boats I was on most recently down there 2 winters ago, we were on a Lagoon 40 catamaran. And then most recently, we're on I don't know how you say it, Fontaine Peugeot Astrea 42, which was really fantastic. So much so that when we were done, I hopped off the boat and walked right in the office. And I said, if you give me a deal, I will book it right now again. And they gave me a deal. You'll see in a second. And I booked the exact same boat for this coming January, which will be with Arthur and Alana. And where's Brian? And Brian over there. Yeah, so some Pelagic folks going down. This picture I have here in the boatyard, this is our dog Reece. I don't know if this is spring or fall, but one time I'm working on my boat on the hard and I connect the batteries. It must have been the spring. The bilge pump kicked on and I was like, oh, the bilge is running. It's fine. Whatever. I'll go ahead and let it pump. And then I realized I had tied Reece up down below at the back of the boat. I was like, oh, no. So I disconnected the batteries and ran out. And she's sitting there looking up at me covered in bilge water. Like, what did you do? And so I snapped this picture of her. She's not happy with me right there. I snapped this picture of her right after scooping up and apologizing for dousing her in bilge water in probably March or something. But anyway, so also about me. So something that I think is really important, and this for those of you who are not boat owners or skippers, if you are crew, every skipper or boat owner does it differently. They do it differently when they're on their boat versus a chartered boat, and they might be different than another skipper you've sailed with. That's not good or bad. That's just how it is. And I think some people, that's like there's not a right way to do something necessarily. So this is how I like to cruise. I'm very budget conscious. I like to save money where I can, hence the negotiation when I hopped off the boat to rebook the charter. I love cooking on the boat. I know a lot of people really like to eat on shore a lot, so I try to do a blend of both. And I also am really clear with my crew up front to say we don't all have to do the same thing. Like I like to cook on the boat. Maybe I'm going to stay on it because I want to eat this dinner tonight. You go ahead and take the dinghy and run to shore. That's cool. You're not hurting my feelings. If I can do it myself, I'm going to do it myself. So that's just kind of tasks with my own boat. Also, when I'm out cruising, if there's things I can learn to do myself, I'm going to try and do that. In the Caribbean, I want to sail as much as possible. Generally, we're sailing more than half the time if I can, and sometimes a lot more than that. Another thing to know down there, comfort with anchoring really opens things up. It takes the pressure off a lot, especially if, say, you've got your mooring ball booked for that night, and if you're comfortable with anchoring, there's a bunch of places you can stop just for lunch. Just stop for lunch. There's no mooring balls there, but you can drop your anchor, or you don't have to be in a hurry to get there because you don't want to get one of the only 4 mooring balls there are. More often than not, and I went the first week in January. So it's the first week of the shoulder season, what they call it. So high season, obviously the Christmas week is high season. We go the week right after that because it's about $1,000 or $1,500 cheaper. And it was busy, but not so busy that I couldn't anchor where I wanted to. It's a great time. You can just snorkel or whatever. And down there, unlike my boat only has, here at Savin, it only has 30 feet of chain. Down there, it's all chain. So if a lunch hook, 3-to-1 scope, you're fine. You're absolutely fine because it's all chain. It's super heavy, especially if it's not super rough out there. When in doubt, chill out. I just try to that's what I want the vibes to be with myself and my crew. It's okay. It's going to be all right. Whatever you want to do, we can do it. If you want to go on shore, if you want to snorkel, whatever, we can make it happen. I just want things to go well for everybody. And my crew wants and needs are very important. I think how I pick my crew is important because I want there to be a good harmony between everybody, but also everyone wants to do. Like if I have a boat where a bunch of people want to hit the bars every night, we can absolutely do that. I just want to know in advance so I can structure the day for how that's going to be, because that's not what I'm going to be doing, but you can do that if you want to. So that's kind of how I cruise. I've got a few videos here. I'm going to show you the first 2 are the Lagoon 40, and then the second 2 are the FP Astrea 42, just to give you some context for what this looks like down there. Sorry. You can't hear it, but you don't need to hear it anyway. It's fine. So what we're doing here is we're pulling the jib out. Something that I learned really quickly is, this is a 42-foot, $1 million catamaran, and it was easier to sail than my 40-year-old boat out there in the water. It was everything's push button. I could have done this all by myself. In fact, I did several times. You're pushing an electric winch, it pulls the thing out. There's the furler that my brother is on, just letting it so doesn't come out too quickly. You're using it's got great clutches and winches and everything, and also the winch has 2 speeds. It's fast and slow. So there we were pulling the jib out. I put it down in neutral, and I think I'm getting ready to take the halyard off of the. Oh no, I'm putting the halyard on. Oh, that's the. So that was that one. Let me show you this next one here. Sail up. The trampoline in the front was really nice, not as comfortable as what it was on the FP Astrea 42. That's something I learned, but I wanted more lounge space up front. Something I learned for myself is really important is the more places you have on the boat for people to get away from each other and relax and do their own thing, the better. Let's say, for instance, if your wife wants to entire day, I like having 3 different places for her to do that. Like at one point, I think I asked my brother, I said, Evan, where's Alana? He goes, oh, she's still up front. I don't know how many hours she was up there, but there's a beautiful, amazing lounge up front to do that. And there's also the FP Astrea 42 has a roof deck, like a roof sailing off the mooring here. This is in Diamond Key on Joseph Van Dyke. So we put the main up, and then I think there's Brian there getting ready to. Brian's the one putting the main up with the automatic winch. And you can see just barely the roof. That's kind of like the roof lounge area there. It's a great place to lay down. And so we got the mainsail up, and we had enough wind that we just tossed off the ball and just sailed off without even kicking the engine on. I think I had the engine not engaged. I think I had it just for safety, right? If I recall. But and I have one more. This is also the FP Astrea 40. Here's Brian. Jim's at the helm. My brother Brian's behind him. And I think this is just funny. Like, we tacked right over them, right? So this is Clara and Alana up front reading, super chill. We just tack right over them. They don't got to move. It goes right over them, and we keep trucking. It's like, it's really, I mean, luxury sailing. It really is. It's for everybody. How wide? Gosh, I don't have the numbers. I don't know, but significantly wide. I mean, it's like you're sailing around in an apartment. Okay, so here's the numbers, and I track everything, my expenses, everything. So any numbers you want to know, if I don't have it here, I can get it. So a couple of fun facts. Didn't know my first year that we can leave the luggage at base. So tell your crew, unload your luggage in your cabin, take the empty luggage back to base and just put it in a closet. And so I sail with BVI Yacht Charter in Tortola. Most companies are going to give you a discount as a repeat customer. It saved me, it's 10%. And when your boat is $9,000, that makes a difference, right? So I'm using the same company every time. But leave the luggage at base. It leaves a lot of space in the boat free. Learned also, I don't care if your boat is brand new, there will be things that are wrong with it. Guaranteed. Probably not significant, but probably annoying, right? So one of the things that we found with our boat was the anchor. I don't know what you call it, but when we would put the anchor out, the little thing that's supposed to lock on the chain and not let the chain continue to go out didn't like to work all the time. So that once we discovered that, we no longer anchored overnight. I think we anchored overnight once or twice, I can't remember. And when we figured that out, we didn't do that anymore. We only used it for lunch. We called back to base, and I think I emailed them, and they said, sorry about that, we'll fix it when you get back. So we only anchored at lunch then. Didn't even know how to fix that. I think another toilet seat was loose, whatever. No matter what it is, you don't have to call them unless it's emergency. Email them so it's on record, because if not, when you get back, if they discover it without you telling them, there's a chance you could be on the hook for paying for it, depending on what it is. Another thing, I didn't put this in here, but I'm thinking of it now. The whole toilet situation, they will tell you, don't put anything, if it didn't come out of your body, don't put it in the head. That's what they'll tell you. As skipper, you can make that call yourself. And what I've usually done is I've said, because we have 4 cabins and 4 heads, you've got your own cabin, you've got your own head. It's your responsibility. If you clog it, you're the one that's going to pay the $250. Yeah, that's what it is, right? So I just kind of leave it up to the people in those cabins for how they want to handle that. Like I said, first week of January, it was a shoulder season. This is the price. So the first year, $62.23 for 7 days, upgraded for this past year, 2026, for 7 days for $87.97. And when I hopped off the boat and walked in, I said, if you give me, instead of a 10% discount, if you give me a 20% discount, I will literally sign the papers right now, the exact same week. And they said, sold. Because they're locking that revenue in literally like 360 days in advance. So that's a great way to do that. Once you've already been down there, they'll work with you, especially if you're nice to them. So travel options. I debate this back and forth. Alana and I talk about this. I wouldn't say that one is better than the other in terms of how to get down there, but that's the next slide. I will say flying the day before helps a ton. If you can get your entire crew to do that, it really relieves the pressure of having to get to the boat and get on and get out of there, because they don't let you cruise after 5 p.m. and which means they don't let you leave their dock after 4 p.m. And if you don't get to boat until noon, that's a tight window, especially if you have crew that's arriving late. Because you can't really just get there and hop on the boat and go. You're putting your provisions away, you're putting on your sunscreen, you're running back for something you forgot, whatever. It's a lot of activity. And if you can relieve that by coming in the night before, it's absolutely worth it. You can also sometimes stay on the boat the night before. I would not plan for that, because they're not going to hold that day for you. If they have a charter that books it the week before you, they're going to call and say, hey, yeah, you want to stay on the boat the night before? We just booked a charter, so we're bumping you. And then you have to find a hotel. So you can if you want to. I would probably not ever do that. We stayed in a hotel the night before as well as the day after. Beef Island, which I'll show you in a second, is easier because it's direct, and it's easy to get to the charter base. St. Thomas, that's STT. You can do it. If it's the same day, it'll be tight, especially when you get back. Like, we got back to dock, I think maybe at 9 a.m. or something like that. I think we actually got back before they even opened, because we wanted to have time. But if you're flying out of St. Thomas, you got to get back enough time to get a taxi to the ferry, do your exit customs thing, have the ferry get back over to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands, then get a taxi to the airport and then catch your flight. So yeah, if your flight's really late in the day, You could fly out of St. Thomas the same day. I would not recommend it. It's a lot more stress. Taxis on Tortola, rates are frequently standardized. It's not a ton. It's like airport to road town, which is where charter base is for us, 20 bucks a person. This is our taxi driver, Chalice. He works specifically, I think not for them, but he works with BVI Yacht Charters a lot. Super nice guy. He passes his cell phone number out. It's nice to have a number when you get there. We got there, he already knew we were coming because you give charter base your flight information. We walked out. I think I told one guy, oh, hi. He said, what charter are you with? I said, BVI Yacht Charters. He goes, oh, Chalice is over there. I said, oh. And Chalice goes, you're with me. Okay. So it's very convenient. Travel options again. So Beef Island on Tortola, it's the far eastern edge of the island. It's just off Trellis Bay. You could walk from the airport to Trellis Bay, where there's moorings and you can anchor there and restaurants, like it's very close. You frequently you'll be connecting through Miami, Atlanta, or San Juan in Puerto Rico. It is very convenient. It's definitely more expensive. It's absolutely more expensive to fly directly into Tortola. And another thing we learned, toiletries have to be in a clear bag, meaning if you don't have one, you have to go buy one. And guess what? They sell them right there. So that I'd never experienced that before, but we got our luggage and went and bought a bag for like $1, I think, and then put our toiletries in them and sent it back through the security thing. St. Thomas, direct flights from Boston, which is great. I think probably what we'll do, we haven't booked our flights this year. We will probably book our hotel in St. Thomas that night, maybe, and then just come over the next morning. Ferries round trip are about $125. Smith's Ferry is a little better than Native Sun, just in terms of how nice it is. I say nice, but it's only like an hour ride. Definitely check the ferry schedule before you buy your flights. They don't always have the most convenient ferry times. If there's a flight coming in, there should be a ferry for you, but there's not going to be a lot of options, and it's not all ferries operate on the same days. If you're a high roller, go ahead and drop that $400 for your private taxi, though. Dolphin Water Taxi there can take you anytime you want. You call them and book it. They'll take you and your party at $400 a head, but that's nice. Oh, what you're looking at here, this is the Lagoon 40. So you can see the trampoline, which was nice, but it's really not as comfortable as the loungers on the Astrea 42. Lodging ideas. So here's Alana modeling our beach towel in the rain on the beach there. So in terms of lodging options, what we have used is a Hummingbird House is around $185 a night. It's right there at Charter Base. It's just up the hill. The cool thing is you can walk to base and you can also walk to Right Way, but there's not really anything else around. We've stayed there twice now. I like it. It's fine. It's fine. I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 units, but it's a lovely old English woman that owns it and runs it. She's been there for literally decades. She's lovely. Also has a bunch of rescue dogs that she takes care of. She's a wonderful person. This is Sebastian's on the beach where we are right here. Alana and I and Brian and Clara stayed there for the day after our trip this last year. About $250 a night. It's just near Soper's Hole. Like I said, the West End, and Pussers. If you've ever heard of Pussers, it's like the famous rum, but also it's a whole store and gift shop and everything down there, and they have bars and restaurants. So there is a Pussers there. Omar's Fusion, really nice restaurant there as well. We had a good time there. I would recommend. Was there a question? Oh no. Okay, let's talk mooring balls. So most, if not all, mooring balls use a bridle. Okay, so you're going to pull up to them. I'll speak particularly for a catamaran. I think what we kind of settled on, and because I had plenty of crew, it was helpful. I was usually at the helm and 3 guys up front, right? You got one with the boat hook, one on the port line, one on the starboard line. So the one with the boat hook just gets the line out the water that has the little eyelet, hands it to the one person. That person punches, and so your dock line or your bow line is cleated to the front cleat, right? And so the end of the line goes through the eyelet and then back to the same cleat, and you make it fast. Once you get that first one on, you can chill, because you're made, right? You're good. You get the other one on, and then you sit there and look at it for longer than you think you're going to. It's like it's not quite the same. So you want to get them ideally the same length, so you're kind of moving it the same way, and you don't want it super far out, so you don't want your to be some of the mooring fields a little tighter. So you bring it in a little bit and you adjust one, you adjust the other. Boaty ball is most of the anchorages down there use Boaty Ball, which is the reservation system. It's an app you download. The way it works, which is definitely unique, is they don't do advanced bookings unless you pay a really expensive membership fee. I think it's like $700. But if you pay that membership fee, then you can book it well in advance. It is absolutely unnecessary. You'll get a ball. It'll be fine. At 7 a.m., all the balls open up for booking. Okay. And you have to sit there. And as soon as it hits 7, bang, you touch it. And I learned the hard way. Cooper Island, which I'm going to show you in a second. Cooper Island is one everyone's gunning for the first night and the last night, because Cooper's Island is absolutely beautiful. And it's like 4 miles, 5 miles, maybe not even probably from Tortola. So it's a great first stop and last stop. I didn't think it had set. I got the little spinny thing and I went to click back and they were all gone already. So I think I had it and it was loading. And then when I went back, I lost it. So you'll see all the balls available. You have to pick the ball that you want, and hit it and give it a second to load, and then you got it reserved for the day. It's $55 and they're orange. So the Bodie balls that are reservable are orange. The ones that are first come, first serve are white, and they're $35. The first come, first serve. Yes, question.
I have another tip because I've been there and had that same experience. At the more competitive anchor coves, so the strategy is pick a Bodie ball mooring that's at the back of the line, not the one closest to the beach, because that gives you a few more seconds to reserve it.
Yes.
Because otherwise you can pick a ball and you in the 15 seconds it takes you to step through the process and reserve it. Somebody else has already beat you to it.
Yeah.
And by the time you go back and start again, they're all gone.
So the tip there for the Zoom folks was the strategy to pick farther outside the mooring field. I have definitely heard that, and there's also people they say that it's like the reverse psychology of if everyone's doing that, So yes, I have. There's a lot of strategies, and that's certainly one of them. Let's see, first come, first serve, 35. Oh, the first come, first serve. So what I did, I think 2 years ago was, and we didn't get Cooper that first time because I tried and lost. So instead we went to, I think it was Norman Island, I think it was, which is nearby. And so the next morning, instead of going to the Indians, which is a great snorkeling area near Norman, I just booked it over to Cooper for a first come, first serve ball. We were one of the first ones there at like 9:30 in the morning. And the first come, first serve balls didn't fill up until 10:30, probably 11, probably by 11. So if you don't get it the first night, you can get somewhere nearby. And as long as you're an early enough riser to get there I'd say before 10 a.m., you can probably get a first come, first serve ball. They were definitely all full by the time we got to noon. There are some places that don't do Bodie ball. They like there's a place in Norman Island at the Pirates Bite. They run their own system. So it depends on the situation. You radio ahead. Some places have their own website, and when in doubt, they're going to come get their money. So they'll come. It's usually cash. Fuel and power management, something I learned. So first of all, you will not need to refuel. If you need to refuel, you're not sailing enough. And we ran, as you see, we ran the generator every single night. So in my mind, I'm like, this is a luxury situation experience. I'm going to use this boat. What they gave me, I'm going to use it. So we ran the generator every night. Also, he's not here. My brother has a CPAP, and so he wanted to be able to run his CPAP. So that's another reason. And also the air conditioning was really nice. We didn't need it every night, but on some of the anchorages were a little more muggy. And it was nice to be able to run the AC, particularly in the main cabin when everyone's in there having dinner and whatnot. Also running the water maker. The second boat, the FP 42 had a water maker, so you don't have to worry about water rationing. My first year we went down and we were pulling up to docks to get our water tanks filled, and it's fine. It's just another thing you have to do. So in terms of the engine difference, not something I'd really considered my first time, is we were down there in a Lagoon 40, and I would see other similar catamarans that we were blistering past them, and I knew they were hustling. They were like whipping the ponies just like we were, because we're trying to get to the same mooring field before it fills up. And we were getting past them very easily. I looked up their boat. They had a 30 horsepower engine, because everyone has their name of their boat on the side. You can look up and see which one it is. Ours was a 45. So we were like getting along at 7 knots, like not even thinking about it. And we could do 8 knots very easily. Whereas you got a 30 horse engine, or 2 of them, of course, you're not going to be able to get up to speed as much as you might want. And that makes a difference. So that's just something that the people that own them, is a decision they make. In terms of fuel, this past year, 64 gallons of diesel over 7 days. That's with running the generator every single night. And also some of them we motored a bit. There's a number of times we had to motor, but we did sail a whole lot as well. And then 2 years ago, we spent $316 on diesel. Provisioning, Runway is fantastic. It's great. You go online, all the prices are there. You can go ahead and load your card up to project out what you think you're going to want. I think months in advance, I started putting things in my cart, trying to think about what I wanted that to be. Fun thing we learned, not so fun. You really have to be careful about their substitutions. So for example, I had bread in the cart and I had gluten-free bread in the cart. They didn't have the gluten-free bread that we wanted. So rather than not providing gluten-free bread, they just bought more regular bread. Logic would tell you that's not going to be very helpful, but that's what they did. Also, sometimes they substitute for things that you would not anticipate, and now you're like, "What am I? I did not plan for this. We're going to have to find some way to eat this, whatever it is." So just be mindful of that. Right Way is by far the better place to shop, and there's Right Ways throughout the islands as well, but the main one's in Tortola, the big one, because once you get out there, the price difference is significant. Remember, I said I'm a frugal fanny. I like to save my pennies. These price differences are significant when you're going through however many cases of beer you're going through and seltzers and whatever. When you're in Road Town, they deliver to your boat. I think it's like a $75 fee, but they deliver the whole thing to your boat and they will put it away for you. So if they get to your boat and you're not there, when you arrive to your boat, it's in the refrigerator, it's in the freezer, it's in the cupboards. They put it away for you, which is really nice. Also, we learned this last time, if you would rather shop yourself, which now I guess is what we're going to do this next year, because just so we get exactly what we want, there's a free shuttle and they give you rum punch in the bus. So you get your groceries, go out there, load them up, hop in the shuttle, and there's a dude there with a cooler of rum punch, and he will take you to your boat for the low price of a tip. So that's really nice. Provisioning, in January 25, 7 days, 6 people, we spent $842. This last January with 7 people, a little over $1,000. So that's how much we spent. And I do like to cook on the boat. I really do. Not every meal, but we did have some really nice nights out on shore. But I like doing breakfast in the morning. So maybe I'm doing pancakes or eggs and bacon or whatever. I'll talk more about the cooking in a minute because there's some hot tips I got on that. So what to buy, what to bring. Luggage meat. 2 words that should not go together. The BVI is famous for luggage meat, people that like to bring down the exact cuts of whatever that they want. So you can buy steaks up here. Beef is very, it's just not the same. It's fine, but you're not going to get the quality that you have up here. And some people really want what they want. So people will freeze steaks up here, put them in a cooler with dry ice and take them in the luggage down there or anything else. And they do that. Is it legal? Probably not, but they do it. I take Cabot cheese. I like Cabot cheese and I just throw it in my bag and it's fine. And when I get down there, I put it in the fridge. Coffee is very expensive down there. And because people are so particular about it, I would recommend you bring your own. Another thing, there's nothing in the boat. There's like maybe if you're lucky, 1 roll of paper towels, but probably not even that. Everything you have to provide. So I bring dish towels with me, galley towels. You'll want a lot of them to cycle them through. Tomatoes, don't buy them, rotten by day 3. Learned that the hard way. I mean, they get 1 bump and then with the heat and humidity, you lose them. So don't do that. Iceberg is better than leaf lettuce. So you're bringing your own salt, your own pepper, dish soap, your cooking oil. We use about 1 quart of cooking oil for the whole week-ish. Your own paper towels, etc. I just make a spice kit at home, right? I use old spice containers and just refill them with what I have at home. And so I go down there with a little bag of my paprika and my rosemary, my whatever else, making your breakfast potatoes. We drank a lot of water. 14 gallons of water, that's individual jugs, and 60 seltzers, so 5 cases of seltzer, a lot of LaCroix and Polar and whatnot. The cat, which we didn't know until halfway through the trip, has storage in the floorboards. So you can lift them up and all that water can go down there very easily. So that was a nice place to put them. Provisioning. 2 years ago, I brought $300. That was not enough. That's my brother right there. He paid for the rest of the things because he brought more cash. It does depend on how much you're going to be in a taxi and doing things that require cash. I think last year we brought $500 and it was much better. I don't like to grill on the boat. Just another thing. We tried it 2 years ago with so much wind, the charcoal, the lighter fluid, or if you got propane, whatever, the grill was on the edge of the boat and we had to wash the boat afterwards because there was hamburger grease just all over the fiberglass. And I didn't want to risk getting charged for that. And of course it's slick. So you don't want to slip and fall down on hamburger grease. So this last year we didn't do it at all. I didn't want to mess with it. It ain't my thing. In terms of what to eat, keep it simple. The same things that you eat easily on a cruise here, a pelagic cruise, will work down there. Pasta is super easy, tacos, sandwiches for lunch. Something I don't usually eat at home, but I liked a lot that was pretty super easy. Microwavable rice. Just those little 16-ounce things of microwavable rice. It was fantastic for the tacos. We put a bag in the microwave, throw it in a bowl, another bag in the microwave, throw it in a bowl, and people got their own little taco making station there. Bring Tupperware in Ziplocs. They're fantastic for leftovers. Also for marinating your chicken. I've owned my boat this is my 6th season. It's possible I've never turned the oven on. I don't I don't know that I have. And if I did, it might have just been to see if it worked and I don't remember. But these boats, they're brand new. What, 2 years old? And so they're going to work, and they're going to work well enough to get the job done. So chicken, when we did taco night, marinated the thighs the night before in a bag, right? And then when it's time for dinner, I take them out, put them in a cookie sheet or like a pan kind of thing, and put them in the oven at 350. Does it matter if it's 350 or is it actually 375 or is it actually 325? Who cares? The chicken's going to get cooked. Let it go while you do everything else. And you're cutting the tomatoes, you're cutting the onions, whatever. Chicken's done, pull it out. So the oven is a super helpful kind of thing to use that I would not use here because I don't trust my oven. Crew planning. So here's our crew from this last year. This is at Joost Van Dyke White Bay, which is where Soggy Dollar Bar is. I'll talk about that in a minute. So, and Brian, you'll notice I didn't do all of these things. I learned from them, so I'm going to do them in the future. Like the crew's going to ask you a lot of questions, right? And that, of course, they're going to. It's their vacation also. But you need to anticipate that and think like, we should do a daily briefing, right? Like every day, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going. We're going to be able to, like, I'm going to put my swimsuit on today. Are we getting in the water at lunch? Do we have the opportunity? So I want to do a daily briefing. Also, making sure your crew knows what the crew tasks are. So cooking, dishes, cleaning, bagging the trash. When you bag the trash, where does it go? Not everyone might know that. In catamarans, but up in the front, they have these huge lockers. One of them has the generator. The other one is usually where we throw our dock lines and fenders and things. That's where we kept our trash. So bagging the trash, sand will get everywhere, even if you are really trying hard for it not to. Sand will get everywhere and makes the deck really slippery inside the cabin. I know because I fell down with my morning coffee one morning because of that. So those galley towels I was talking about, they have a progression. When they're clean, they're for dishes only. And when they're less than clean, they can be used on the countertops. And when they're really not clean, they can be used to swab the deck, right? So they kind of make their way down of their usage state. And so that sand, you're going to want to scoop it up and make it go away because it's slick. Also, you're going to get salt spray on your windshield of the catamaran. So someone that just takes a microfiber, dips it in some fresh water and gets that wiped down helps a lot. And making lunch, sign up to make lunch. So going through all these things to make sure that your crew knows these are all the things that can be done at any time if you can help out. Something I think I might do next time also is because different people are making meals at different times. Painter's tape to label the cupboard so you know these are the drinks, this is the bread, this is the whatever. That would help a lot as well. Learned the hard way. Combination lock for the dinghy would be great. Because when you have you want to lock it up every time because you don't want to risk losing it when you're coming to shore. But if only one person has the key and your group splits up, no one's using the dinghy until that group gets back, right? But if you make a combination lock, then you don't have to worry about that. So that's something we'll probably do next time. And then handheld radios. We all have handheld marine radios. Bring them with you because Anegada particularly has no cell service. And like I said earlier, the Wi-Fi is exceptionally spotty. If we would have had handheld marine radios, we could have communicated back to base what we were doing and where people were. That would have been helpful. Sailing versus motoring. Longest day was Anegada to Joost Van Dyke, which I'll explain in a minute, which was 28 miles in 4 hours. I'm going along at 7 knots very easily. You're usually not going more than 15 miles in a day. Everything's line of sight navigation, with the exception of Anegada. Everything is line of sight navigation. A number of mornings, I got up early and I'd ask maybe one crew member to help me, and we'd take off really early to get underway to let the rest of the crew sleep in. But then we're like, I had an old instructor who'd say, "You're putting money in the bank. You're putting money in the bank. Getting out early, getting underway." So, and that will help you get to the best anchorage spots for lunches and snorkeling. Yep. So local, something to know. This is the FP Astrea, again, the 42 with the lounge up front. In popular anchorages, dinghies will approach and they're selling water, ice, and trash pickup and beer. They're very nice guys. There are some islands in the Caribbean that do have a reputation sometimes for being a little more forward with their requests of your business. The BVI is not one of them. I don't think they don't even knock on the boat. If you're not up on deck, they're not going to mess with you. But they'll see in the morning, I'm up there drinking my coffee. As soon as they see you come up on deck with your coffee, they'll come over in a dinghy and ask you what you need. The trash pickup is usually $5 a bag. I think we went through, in total like 8 bags or something like that. But we just dumped it back at base when we got back because base had a dumpster, right? So we just left it in the forward locker. When we got back, we ditched our trash. But if you want water, ice, or beer, they do that as well. And like I said, they're not scammers. They're just local guys trying to make a buck, and that's what they do. And the other thing is they're great for information. If you have questions about, you know, the next anchorage you're going to, hey, where would you recommend we go? Or if there's something you need on land, they can certainly help you with that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the kind of the chart a bit. Let me see if this is going to turn it on here. Yeah. Okay. So for the folks at home, I'm going to do the same thing with the mouse clicker here in a second. But so what's that? Oh yeah. So this whole thing here is well, there's St. John over here. That's U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay. But this is Tortola, and that's Road Town right there. So you come out of Road Town, and Cooper's Island, I was talking about, the really beautiful spot I'll show you in a minute, is right there. So a lot of people usually do a counterclockwise schedule is what they usually do. So you come out of, and for scale, if you're coming out of Road Town to Cooper's Island, that's maybe 5 miles, 6 or 7 at the most, probably. It's not far. So from here to Cooper's, this is Norman Island. This is Peter Island. So Road Town to Cooper's. Virgin Gorda is up here. So I'm talking about Virgin Gorda in a minute. I have a blow up of that. But the baths, which I'm going to explain in a second, are right about here, which is a rock formation. This is Spanish Town. Like I said, Gorda Sound. Bitter End Yacht Club is over here, and Leverett Bay is right there. So leaving Anegada would be up there. And then this is what I'm going to just kind of refer to as kind of the east end. I'll explain in a second. And then this is Joost Van Dyke. Soper's Hole and Frenchman's Key is right here. And then you're back through to Norman Island and Peter Island. So for the folks at home, real quick, this is Road Town, Cooper's, East End. This is Gorda Sound, Bitter End, Leverett. The baths are down here. Anegada is up that way. Over here, this is Joost Van Dyke. Here you have, I guess I could have just used the pointer for everybody, couldn't I? Here's Soper's Hole and Frenchman's Key, and then Norman Island and Peter Island. So that's just to orient you when I'm talking about these places so you know where they are. Cooper Island. This is the one everybody guns for either on the first night or the last night. It is beautiful. It has the best sunsets in the BVI, just the way it lines up with the dock and the boats right there and the islands in the distance. It's incredible. This is what I was talking about earlier with the fast fingers. Do not back out once you click. This is Alana and her friend Sarah at the Rum Bar, 400 rums. They also have I think it's a solar powered brewery on the island, which is pretty neat. Very nice restaurant. You have to have advanced reservations. Some of the restaurants down there, they only open up bookings sometimes like a month in advance. For others, it's even closer than that. There's no provisioning at Cooper though, so you don't expect to get anything there. But beautiful sunsets. So, so with Virgin Gorda, the baths once again are right here. Okay, Spanish Town is right here. And I'm going to show you Hog Heaven in a second. Hog Heaven is right about up here. It's on this peak looking out over everything. Gorda Sound. Bitter End is right here. Leverett. And this is all anchoring. This is good anchoring right here. And you can't really see it in this photo, but Saba Rock is right about there in that corner. And this is a no-go zone, so it looks like it's okay. You will see boats going through there. Do not do it. Come out and do this way. It looks like it is okay. It probably was years ago. It is no longer. So Gorda Sound, Virgin Gorda, you could absolutely be there for 2 days. It's beautiful. It is the water sports capital of BVI and probably most of that region anyway. It's really great. That's where you're going to see your billionaires if they're in town, and you'll know when you see them because they'll have their helicopters flying in. They have seaplanes. I mean, yachts. I thought I had seen a big yacht before. I hadn't until I got down there. The ones you see tied up here at wherever in the harbor are absolutely nothing compared to the monsters that you see down there. They're enormous, some of them. Very easy anchoring. I haven't done it yet. I keep meaning to, but I've heard that it is. I want to this year. So Bitter End Yacht Club, which is at the far eastern end, there's no roads, so you can't drive there. So if you want to go there from somewhere else, you need to take a taxi or a water taxi. For Bitter End Yacht Club, particularly, you have to book. You can book online they have docks. Most places don't have slips down there, but Bitter End Yacht Club does, which is pretty cool. And the mooring balls, you can either book it online in advance or you can just call on the radio. Either one works fine. When we were there, once again, first week of January, it was very easy to get a mooring ball. It was not very full at all. Provisions are very expensive. They don't have like a right way or anything like that. It's just like their own little version of a shop. And that's not where you want to buy anything really other than souvenirs, perhaps. Leverett Bay, over more on the western side, the southwestern side of Gorda Sound. Very well stocked with fair prices. The cheapest fuel and ice that I saw on any of the places we popped into, and a great place to explore the island. Virgin Gorda. So this was Alana's highlight of her trip every time. It is pretty cool. The Rum Runner. So the Rum Runner is in Gorda Sound. This is Drake. Drake's the OG. Drake was the original Rum Runner dog from, oh, I don't know what, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. And I think there was some complaint about he was working too many hours. And so they got another dog. And so there's two, I forget the other one's name, but that they rotate often between each other. But you don't even have to radio. They will come by and see you when you're there. And they are fantastic frozen cocktails. They have the Bushwhacker, they have the Rum Runner. There's a number of different ones. They also sell some merch, which is really cool. But they used to let Drake hop on your boat and run around, but he was getting fat. And I think also because people were feeding him. And I think it's also slowing them down, so they don't let him do that anymore. But it is super cool. You can just radio them and say, "Hey, over here, we're on 27. Can you come get us?" And they'll bring you drinks. And the drinks are very good. Saba Rock is a really neat thing. It's just a circular little island in the middle of Gorda Sound, and it's beautiful. It looks iconic, but it's very expensive. The dinners there are very expensive. We learned that. So if I were to do it again, I want to go back, I would probably just do cocktails there because you kind of get the same experience sitting at the bar. And there's a water taxi that will come get you from the Bitterrun Yacht Club and take you over there for a few bucks. But it's a cool thing to see. Something we did last year that I hadn't done before was we rented a car in Leverick Bay. They will bring it to you. They're based out of Spanish Town, but they'll drop it off wherever you want them to drop it off. Keys under the mat. I don't think they're worried about it being stolen because where are they going to go? It's an island, right? So $75, you will absolutely save money over using taxis, and the flexibility and freedom of going wherever you want, whenever you want, trumped out for me. I think it was so nice to be able to do that. You're going to the Virgin Gorda right way whenever you want. There's some nice shops. We got some beachwear at the Arawak, which is in Spanish Town. Coco Maya is a very highly rated restaurant. We went there. I would absolutely recommend that, but you're going to need to take a taxi or rent a car. And it's also at the kind of opposite end of the island from where Gorda Sound is. It's more at the southern side. So Hog Heaven. So it's a barbecue place. It's a great spot. As you can see, beautiful views. This is from their deck. It's not an indoor location. It's kind of an outdoor with like a covered porch kind of thing. If you get a taxi, so the taxi's in Leverick Bay, because remember, at Bitterrun Yacht Club, there are no roads. So if you're at Bitterrun Yacht Club, you have to get to Leverick Bay first, which would be probably either taking your own boat or a water taxi. And then from there, there's guys in taxis. And when I say taxi, it's either going to be like a van or a truck that you're sitting in the back on these benches with like the covered canopy thing where they can fit maybe 8 people, something like that. 15 to 20 bucks a person. It's a round trip up to the top of the mountain. And the driver just waits for you. He's going to sit there at the bar and hopefully not drink too many beers while you're having your lunch. And he takes you back down. Definitely the best views of Gorda Sound. They're known for their ribs. Not all the tables and seats are covered. So just keep that in mind with the sun, but it's definitely recommended. These are the baths. So the baths are super famous. I didn't go the first 2 times I had gone down because I was like, oh, whatever. It's just very touristy, whatever. I'm glad that we went this last time. It was cooler than I thought it was going to be. I had seen the pictures, but getting to experience it in person, it was really neat. It's just a series of rock formations and waterways that you crawl through. And the thing that I didn't know is it's also a series of several beaches that have like little beach bars, and you can hang out there all day if you wanted to. It's a national park, so you're going to pay, I think it's $2. I think the entrance fee was $2, which is like, I was like, charge me more. Charge me more. It's like, this is worth so much more than that. I'd be happy to give you $10 for this or 20, whatever. But you're wading through the water, so you definitely want to make sure you're wearing your shoes. Not everybody did. And you want to check the cruise ship schedule, which is very easy to do online. If you just Google BVI cruise ship schedule, even if a cruise is in town, just go in the morning. The cruise people won't be there probably until 10 a.m. or later. If you go before that, you'll be fine. And even the cruises that we saw, it wasn't that bad. I'm going to show you a picture in a second, but you can also take your boat there and get a mooring and swim to shore, or take a dinghy up to the dinghy rope tie off and then swim to shore. I would probably not recommend it unless you're like a really good swimmer. And chances are probably not every single person in your crew is. So I would probably not recommend that. That's why we rented the car and drove there. It was easier to get there, and we didn't have to worry about swimming in and everything. And also we were up in Gorda Sound anyway. It's farther than it looks. Here's the picture, okay? So there's more moorings around the corner, but this is the swimming area. And this is one of there are probably 2 or 3 different beaches. It's known for being a little more dicey with the wind because it's at the southern end of Virgin Gorda. So the wind kind of comes around either side, depending on which way the wind is blowing, and kind of makes more waves. So it might look doable, but a buddy of ours did it, I think, a few years ago, and he said he wished he hadn't. He said he made it. He's a strong swimmer. He made it to shore and was like, I probably should not have done this. So just something to keep in mind. It's better not to swim. Anegada. So Anegada is 13 miles from Virgin Gorda. I think, I didn't do Anegada 2 years ago because I think in my mind, I thought it was a bigger deal than it was. It was super chill. Like it's not far. You can't see it when you take off. So you are navigating strictly by either the GPS or the compass because it is so flat. It's totally reasonable to do, I think. I enjoyed it. It's very shallow though, that you're going to be anchoring in 6 or 7 feet of water. So that's a different experience, right? You can jump off the boat and literally see your keel like 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. But there's no cell service, very weak cell on land. Ask bartenders for Wi-Fi. It will not always work, even if they do give you the password. Bring the portable marine radios and make a plan for communication in advance with your crew to know exactly when you think not exactly, but relatively when you think they should be back, just so you can anticipate that, because they will not be able to call you or text you. Even we always thought the text messages, we can't call, but the text messages will go through. They did about 30 minutes late. And that's me standing on top of the cat with my phone like this, trying to get a signal. But it was cool. I would definitely go back. The moke, rent a moke. So that's our buddy Jim and his wife Julie in a moke. Around 100, 150 bucks, something like that for a day. It's a stick shift. It's not super comfortable, but it's fun to zip around in. There's also taxis right there at the mooring field. There's taxis lined up to take you wherever you want to go. I didn't really leave the mooring area, but some of my crew did, and they had a really good time. They recommended it. Bugs, absolutely bugs, and of the biting kind. So keep in mind, you want to take whatever your version of bug spray that you use is. I would highly recommend taking it with you, because you never know if this beach right now is going to have it or if a restaurant's going to have an issue with it. So bug spray is useful. So I put this picture in here. So this is an Anegada. And if we do go back, I think I would want to do this. And Patty, if you read Patty's article in the Winds, she referred to this. I don't know if it was Sherwin that she went with, but she did talk about doing a conch trip. So this guy, I saw him pull up. He has a big, nice, I think it's red kind of speedboat looking thing that can probably hold 8 people, 6 or 8 people easily. He takes you out to the conch mountain, which is, if you can just barely see here on the right side of the picture, those are all conch shells. Okay. So it's just where they all just discard all the shells after they've gotten them. He will dive down and get your conch and bring it up, come back to shore and make conch ceviche right there on the beach. I mean, how cool is that? He's got an Instagram as well. I'm following him now and seeing some of his pictures. So I think I would probably do that next time. I didn't know about it when we were there last time, but that is a neat little side quest you could do. Okay, so this is the east end of Tortola. I've been there a couple times. It's fine. And it's funny how everything down there suffers by comparison. If this was anywhere else in the world, it would be amazing. But in comparison to how more amazing everything else is, I don't know that I can highly recommend much of what's there. The reason is a couple things. The airport's right here. So you're going to have planes going over all the time. There's also a ferry that runs between Trellis Bay and Marina Key and Scrub Island. So there's a lot of wake, a lot of activity. This is a highly trafficked little passage area here. So Trellis Bay is nice. It's just a big wide open area. This beach here is where they have the full moon parties, if you've heard of those. So every month during the full moon, they have performers and beach bonfire, big barbecue. Scrub Island is a private island. Most of these are private here. And it's a resort. Marina Key, if it's not open, meaning like there's like a beach bar kind of a thing, then nothing's happening there. Meaning like we thought we were going to be stranded because we were waiting on a ferry that did not come because it was closed. So not a lot to do there. This looks like it's wide open. It is not. That is a no-go zone. So if you're here, you have to go this way. It's not marked unless on the chart, but your charter company will tell you that. So you come through here and then you can cut through here at Monkey Point. Monkey Point, there used to be good snorkeling here. Hurricane Irma in 2017 knocked it out. Unfortunately, a lot of the good snorkel spots. I was at the Dogs as well, which is another popular one, got knocked out in 2017. The coral just got torn to pieces. And unfortunately, a lot of those spots that are famous for their snorkeling just aren't as as attractive anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the East End. I kind of already said all this. Scrub Island, private resort, et cetera, et cetera. And the spiny lobster, they just keep them kind of like they do in Maine, different traps or different storage, but the same thing. They keep them in the water until you order them, and they go down and get them. Okay, Joost Van Dyke. I love Joost Van Dyke. It's cool. There's a lot of different little anchorages to hang out in there. So a few things that I'm going to point out in a minute. But so this is Sandy Key, which I'm going to talk about. This is Sandy Spit. This is Diamond Key, I think they call it. The bubble pools are right here, which I did not go to, but my crew did. This is Little Harbor. No one goes to Little Harbor unless Great Harbor is full. There's just nothing there. It's fine, but literally no one goes there. Great Harbor, that's where Foxy's is, without a doubt, the most famous bar in the BVI, if not the Caribbean. I'll talk about that in a second. And this is White Bay, where the most famous drink in the Caribbean is from, is that the painkiller was invented there at the Soggy Dollar Bar. So a few things while I have this chart up. I'd wanted to stop there for lunch, as we did it this past time, and made the mistake of taking the dinghy to shore. Would not recommend for a few reasons. For one, you're in the middle of the channel. So even on a relatively calm day, the waves hit that island a lot more than what you would anticipate. Also, when you get up to shore, there's a very steep drop off that you can't see because the water is so turbulent. So when I went to go pick up my crew, I went to hop out of the dinghy, and I was maybe only 10 feet from the beach, and I did not touch the bottom. So I had to swim the dinghy in while the waves coming in, trying to keep it straight on so it doesn't roll on me. And then getting the people back in the dinghy, the people from the beach had to help. So I would not go to shore on Sandy Key. Sandy Spit, before Hurricane Irma, this teeny weeny little island, I actually swam to this island, was what on all their marketing materials were. It's the island that had the one palm tree on it. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was so iconic that after Irma, they went out and tore that tree out. They went out and planted a new tree. So the new tree is there and it's still in their marketing, but it's not the OG tree. And let's keep trucking here. Joost Van Dyke, east to west, east to west. Sandy Key, I already explained that. Sandy Spit, the little one island. Diamond Key is cool. So there's Foxy's Taboo, which is just another bar. It's one of Foxy's, and it's kind of like their other bar. And the Bubble Pools, which is just a fun little feature of water kind of flowing through. Little harbor empty. I'm gonna keep trucking. Okay, Joost Van Dyke. This is Foxy's. It's kind of like a college bar kind of a thing. Absolutely, you will find your college flag there. There are hundreds upon hundreds of them. So much so that you might even find the flag for the school within your college, as I did at Kelly. So that's just a big thing for them. They're big on sports. Absolutely famous for ribs. I would say Foxy's ribs were better than the ribs at Hog Heaven, in my opinion. They're both very good. I thought Foxy's was better. Foxy is still around. He's 87 years old. You will not see him at night. There is an older gentleman that hangs out there at night, and I think he's like a cousin or something like that, and people always think that he is Foxy. He never says that he is, but he also doesn't just offer up that he's not. And I think people just like hanging out with him. Very nice guy, but he'll be like, oh, no, it's not me. So Foxy started that bar in the 1960s, which is pretty cool. And he's apparently walks on the beach every morning around 5 a.m., which is pretty amazing for the history down there. So I would highly recommend Foxy. It was a great spot. This famous bar as well, the Soggy Dollar Bar. I mean, the famous sailors bar. They literally invented the painkiller there. You cannot enter, at least with the charter company I use, because it's too shallow. So you have to take what we did is we took the dinghy around the point to get over there. You can also take a taxi as well, because you can drive there from Great Harbor. You can drive over to White Bay. And here's a shot of us. We took the dinghy over and just pulled it up on shore. Something, I'm figuring this out as we go, but even with relatively in shape people, it was not the super easiest thing to pull the dinghy up and then get it back in and get it lined up so everyone can get in at the same time, and then get the motor started in enough time before the wave gets here to turn you sideways. You hope it starts on the first pull, because the wave can roll you. It can roll you, and then it flips, so that's not good. So an idea we had was, there were some people we were with that they'd made a rope ladder that they hung off the side of it to make it easier for people to crawl in. Here's just a picture of us getting ready to do that. And then Soper's Hole. So this is the far west end of Tortola, and Frenchman's Key is a little spot there. They have fuel. There is a right way there, which once again, good prices. There's a Pussers there. Water taxis that will take you really anywhere. Usually in Soper's Hole, the water taxi are probably going to take you to JVD, Joost Van Dyke, because it's just people don't especially if they don't have a boat. They know they can go to Frenchman's Key and hop a taxi to go to Foxy's for the day. There's also a ferry that does that. And then Omar's Fusion, I talked about this earlier, but it's also a nice, fun restaurant there. Norman Island. So this is what we did 2 years ago, or was it one of the times? I forget. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Great first stop if you can't get Cooper's. You can anchor inside the mooring field. I think both times I've been there, I've anchored, and it's fine. It's a huge mooring field. It's very large, and there is room at the edges to anchor if you want to. There's no boating ball here. The Pirates restaurant maintains the mooring field, so they will come out and collect the cash fee eventually if you're on the mooring. Willie T is the famous floating bar. It's named William Thornton. That's the full name of the bar. The one that's famous for people jumping off the top deck. One of my crew did that last year and had a great time, and we got it all on video, so that was fun. And Treasure Point is the treasure point that actually did inspire the book Treasure Island, because there are caves there that real pirates did actually hide treasure in back during the pirate days. So there's a lot of snorkeling there and people to explore that. And then the Indians is another thing nearby that's supposedly has good snorkeling. I've never been there. Sun protection. I don't fool around with that really anymore. Maybe when I was younger, but here I am going from Great Harbor around the point over to White Bay at Soggy Dollar to pick up my crew. That's actually a Rum Runner Drake UPF hoodie, so I can put up over my head there, and I have a buff. The buffs are super handy. Something that I definitely discovered is when you're at the helm, you can't really avoid the sun because it's going to come on the side and it's going to reflect up off the water, right? And on a catamaran, the helm is usually it's on the side, right? So I was wearing that buff almost the whole time, so the whole side of my face was protected. Even with the sunscreen, you're still going to get cooked. So I don't fool around with that, and also drink way more than you think you need to the water because it sucks it out of you. And there you go, friends. That's the whole deal. Happy to answer any questions that you got. Rich.
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh yeah, January. I went. So Rich asked me when I went. I went the first week of January because Christmas is the seasons aren't always contiguous, right? They'll say high season is like Christmas week, and then once you get past New Year's, it goes to the shoulder season, which is the second season. The seasons are high season, shoulder season, low season, off season. Okay, so it gets very cheap if you want to go later in the season. But so yeah, so I went the first week of January, which was the first week of the shoulder season.
Right. Did they what did they require from you for credentials to, I know some of
great
them are
question.
different there
Great question. What do they require for credentials? So if anyone's heard the phrase credit card captain, anybody heard that? Not much. They don't require a whole lot. If you have a credit card, I mean, yeah, you have to know something. So they do request a sailing resume. They just give you a form to fill out. And I just put on there the different boats I'd chartered over the years. I've done smaller charters elsewhere. Like I've chartered out of San Diego a couple times and Long Beach and over to the Catalina Islands. So I put that on there. I put my ASA 101, 103, and 104. They'll call you and talk about it. But you do put, also if you're a boat owner, it makes a big difference. But there is no actual verification. Like they're not calling ASA to make sure that you have the 104. They're not doing that, at least the ones that I use. I think I just talked to them on the phone and they were like, all right, he's good. And then once you go with them the first year and you don't sink the boat, I think they're like, all right, he's definitely fine. So, but yeah, nothing formal. They definitely don't require anything formal.
Charted there, thanks. Right after I got my 104, but before I sailed very much, and they wanted me to have a captain for the first 24 hours.
You're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up. So they might require you to do a checkout sail. And if the checkout sail does not go well, they will require you to have a captain on the boat the entire time, meaning you're hiring him for the whole trip, which is, that's part of it sometimes. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Larry. What's that? Oh yeah. So when I say lock it up, I mean like on a dock, right? So because on the docks they have it's not a cleat that you're tying it to. It's like a rail. You're tying up to a rail, and so you just take it's like a cable. It's a long cable. Yeah, it's a long cable that goes through the hole. Yeah, good question.
Question about the boating balls. So I've been there a few times.
last time was a couple years ago. It's the first time we ran into the Bodie balls, which we didn't like. So, so are you saying that, so we would have to go, like we ended up at Little Harbor because the other one was full where
So
Foxy's
you're saying
was.
you ended up at Little Harbor on JVD because Great Harbor was
We
full?
did. There was, we were able to get some sort of a taxi, if you call it that, that
Yeah.
took us over to Foxy's. But are you saying that now, because when we were there, they said, oh, you have to get it for a week and then you can pick where you want. But now you're saying you have to get a membership for
Oh,
700?
no, no. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you asked me that. No, you do not have to get a membership. You can. If you want to buy a $700 membership, they'll let you book it days in advance, weeks in advance. I don't know. But you don't need that. A regular person can just book the mooring at 7 a.m.
Right.
the-
But we tried that and we didn't always get it, which
Yeah,
is how we ended up
Absolutely,
at Little
yeah. If
Harbor.
you pay the $700, you can book it well in advance.
So then do you have to pay for
Boating ball
the
on top of that.
on
Yeah.
top of it? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
$700
Wow.
membership is just the membership.
Wow.
If you book the boating ball on top of that, that'll be another $55. Yeah.
Okay.
And so in Great Harbor, there's room to anchor. So we anchored at Great Harbor as well. So
Okay.
on the eastern edge, we anchored, and then when we got in, there were actually 2 or 3 boats that anchored even behind us in a little bit. They were probably anchored in 30 feet of water. We were anchored in probably 12 or 15 feet, but there is
Okay.
anchoring at Great Harbor outside the mooring field as well. In fact, there's also anchoring inside the mooring field. The way I figured this out is the charter boat captains, the skippers that do this for their job, they'll go right past you. You think they're going to hit the beach and they put it in reverse, drop the anchor, and they're good.
Oh,
So, and
interesting.
yeah, so I just see where they anchor and just watch them. And like, well, that boat just did it and held. But why can't I do that?
Right.
So that's why I like to test out the anchoring. Like maybe I told my crew, I'm like, hey, we're going to get to this anchorage. I don't want to book a ball because I'm going to try and anchor, see if it works. We anchor and it works fine. Maybe it doesn't. I'm like, okay, I don't like this. We're kind of moving around too much. Let's go ahead and get a ball. So that's why you get the feel for it. And then once you are comfortable with knowing where you can anchor, it really opens up your schedule a lot, I think.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
question, though. Yeah, absolutely. Any other question? Do I have questions from? Are sharks any concerns on beaches? Not that I've heard. I don't. That's a good question. Not that I've heard. I'm gonna see if there's any questions. Oh, there's a chat here. Let me see if anybody asked. No, this is old. If anybody has any questions on the Zoom, you can put them in the chat and I can read them.
Or they can talk.
Oh yeah, or you can talk too, I guess, huh?
We'll hear them.
There you go, friends. Oh,
They do have barracudas.
oh yeah, they do have barracudas, which are mostly just curious. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is done. Are you done, Ryan?
I think so. I think that's the whole bit.
Hey, well, give Ryan a good hand.
There you go.
I sailed with Ryan, my son came, I was impressed because my second big boat was a Cal thing.